Hey, if you've ever stood in the garage staring at a stack of metal scraps and wondered whether a single piece of equipment could actually handle both your welding and cutting needs, you're not alone. I get it, there's that moment where you picture yourself finally getting rid of that clunky old MIG and buying a fancy new cutter, but then the thought of buying the wrong tool, overpaying, or ending up with something you can't actually master creeps in. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Today I'm going to walk through the Fusswhip 3-in-1 plasma cutter/CNC unit and try to answer the exact question you're probably asking yourself: is this the all-in-one machine that will let me weld, cut, and maybe even dabble in TIG without breaking the bank, or am I better off buying separate dedicated tools? First, a quick reality check. This isn't a high-end industrial plasma cutter you'd find in a shipyard. It's marketed toward hobbyists, beginners, and the kind of DIYer who wants a compact workstation that can switch between MIG, TIG, MMA welding, and plasma cutting without swapping big boxes of gear. The reality of that promise is that you'll be making a trade-off between convenience and specialization. In practice, the machine works best when you keep your projects modest. Think repairing sheet metal, tweaking a backyard signage, or doing small-scale automotive patch-ups. If you're planning on a full-time auto body shop where you need a 200-amp cutter that runs non-stop, you'll quickly feel the limits. So, who should consider this Fusswhip unit? If you're a maker who has a few welding projects a month, a hobbyist who's just learning the ropes of welding different processes, or a small shop owner who needs a portable, all-day tool for occasional jobs, the 3-in-1 approach can actually be a lifesaver. The machine's user-friendly design means you don't have to be an electrical engineer to set it up. The control panel is laid out with clear icons for each mode, and the manual walks you through switching from MIG to plasma in under a minute. That ease of use translates into less downtime, which is a huge plus when you're juggling a weekend project and a family barbecue. On the flip side, if you're a seasoned professional who already owns dedicated MIG, TIG, and plasma machines and you're looking for maximum throughput and the highest cutting speed, this unit might feel underpowered. The cost-effective cutting solution tagline is accurate in the sense that you're paying for 3 functions in a single chassis, but you're also paying for a middle ground performance. The plasma cutter can slice through 10mm steel at a decent speed, but it won't keep up with a 60-amp industrial cutter when you're trying to finish a full panel in an hour. Likewise, the TIG welding mode is a solid entry point, but it doesn't have the fine-grained control you'd expect from a dedicated TIG rig. Now let's talk about practical strengths. The most immediate win I noticed is the flexibility it brings to a small workspace. I set it up on a 3x4-foot workbench, plugged it into a standard 110-volt outlet. The unit draws about 15 amps on plasma mode, and it was ready to go. The advanced technology the manufacturer mentions is basically a digital inverter that keeps the output stable across all 3 modes. In real life, that means the plasma torch doesn't surge when you change thickness, which can otherwise cause torch tip wear. I ran a quick test on a thin aluminum sheet, and the cut was clean with minimal dross, a nice proof that the machine is handling the arc consistently. Another practical benefit is the safety features. The unit includes a built-in overload protection that cuts power if the torch overheats, and an automatic grounding check that alerts you if the workpiece isn't properly grounded. I've seen cheaper plasma cutters that lack even a basic thermal cutoff, so this little safety net gave me confidence, especially when I was experimenting with different cutting speeds. The included steel torch tip is replaceable, so you can swap it out without needing a special tool, which helps keep downtime low. There are a few weaknesses you need to be aware of before you click Add to Cart. First, the CNC aspect is fairly rudimentary. The controller can run simple code files, but it doesn't have the robust motion control you'd get from a dedicated CNC plasma system. In my test, the machine struggled with tight corners on a 0.5mm steel sheet. The torch would overshoot by a few millimeters before correcting. If you're planning to do intricate patterns or need high-precision cuts for decorative metalwork, you'll probably need to finish the job manually or invest in a more capable CNC controller. Second, the power supply is limited to 110V, which means you're not tapping into the full potential of the plasma output. Some users have reported wanting a 220V option for deeper cuts, and while the machine can still handle 10mm steel, the cut speed drops noticeably when you push the thickness beyond that. For occasional DIY repairs, that's